What is good? What is good? We should be live. Let's double check to make sure. I'm gonna try to do this a lot faster than last time. We were on for like 3 hours and 45 minutes, and I definitely don't want to take up. I definitely don't want to do that much stuff. Take up that much time. I don't want to take up your guys' time, and I don't want to, you know, you know, do a lot of talking. I just want to get straight to the point on these things. So let's see here. Make sure we have volume. And I don't want to. Okay, we have volume. Perfect. Okay, here we go. So first, first off, all right, here we go. So we're gonna I couldn't find anything on Bryn Kenney being banned from GG poker. Uh, I didn't find anything in regards to that. When I clicked on the article, it was mainly about Sergey Raksov or Rysak, something like that. Um, a lot of things, a lot of these things. What was interesting about the video was a lot of things that was confirmed up to a certain point. Um, Obex, Overbet Express, he was actually the first one to kind of break the story prior to Martin um, Zamani, coming out later, confirming these things. Actually, uh, being a horse and working that, working in the company or working in the business environment of working for Bryn essentially. And real quick, let's just play what he said real quick because I couldn't find this on YouTube. I didn't want to use too much content, but we're gonna play what he said and we're gonna read some of the articles that were important. Okay. Why don't we start? Why don't we start here? All right. So we know about the Doug Polk interview. That was the first thing that happened. But according to this article, and this is pokerstrategy.com, it's been a crazy week on poker Twitter following a series cheating allegations against Ali Msurovic. That was one of the guys. There's been several cheating allegations, and but they say buckle up because things are about to get a whole lot crazier. Some of the things you guys already know, but we're just gonna go through a couple of things. Poker's all-time money leader. Okay, the guy can play. I haven't seen any uh, live cheating stuff. Maybe someone's gonna go through some of his live stuff. I don't know, but the part about it that's sad is the guy's actually a great player. He's poker's all-time money leader. He's been accused of publicly. He's been accused publicly of just about every possible form of cheating. Okay, as well as a lot of bizarre cult-like behavior by former horse by a former horse of his, Martin Zamani. Well, Martin Zamani made the allegations first on Twitter, then on Doug Polk's podcast. Okay, and I read you this tweet before. The interesting thing about this is when real quick in the interview, he says, "Oh, he it doesn't make any sense." He's saying I'm cheating in satellites, and it's such a little. Why would I do that? But listen, really read what the tweet says. See, a lot of liars, what they do is they take a part of the truth and they bend it to kind of. So you're like, oh, okay, that sounds legitimate because they take a part of the truth and they twist it. If you read the tweet, it says, since we're in the midst of calling out cheaters at Bryn Kenney and all of his horses are basically forced to collude. Okay, colluding is cheating. All right, on GG, especially in Saddies. He says especially in Saddies. He doesn't say only in Saddies. And Bryn Kenney in the interview, go ahead and watch the Poker News interview. Sarah Henning did, in my opinion, did a great job. Um, Bryn tries to give the impression that it was just in the interview that he was only referring to Saddies. Okay. Um, Now to do what's best for the team, I don't know if that's actually in a tweet. It could have been something that Bryn said to Martin. I don't know, but he wouldn't let me play GG 5K PLO events on my account, but on Party I could play 10Ks said horse ghost was there, okay, or was around, all right? Now, the reason why I think personally, um, and I guess we'll save the replies for another time, but the reason why I think personally, and I wrote a bunch of questions down and a bunch of statements and different things I noticed. I think that Bryn's strategy was to keep people in perpetual debt because if someone owes you, and you always keep them in debt to you. I mean, I mean, it may be an extreme, but we're talking about indentured slavery and shit, pretty much. Like we're talking about, and that's probably an extreme, but we're talking about like basically like someone having something over you constantly, so that way you're always going to do what they want you to do. If you get in debt 300,000, like Bryn claims, 700,000 for Lauren Roberts. First it was 2.2, then allegedly he jumped on her account and he says 1.5, then he says 1 to 1.3. So the numbers are all over the place, just like Lauren Roberts said. You know what I mean? And we'll get into that. But, you know, through Bryn's own admission, we're kind of jumping ahead here, but through his own admission, he's allegedly backed thousands of people based in a text. Maybe he was exaggerating, but let's say 100 people, let's say 20 people, right? Through his own admission, he has no records or no books of that whatsoever, but he claims to have never been wrong. So the scheme seems to be set to where you're always going to owe him um, money, and you're always going to be in his debt, and you're always going to be, uh, you're always going to be in service of him. Uh, that way, like you have to do what he says at all times because you owe him. He's always going to have that over you. You're always going to be in his pocket. You know what I mean? He's always going to have you in his pocket. And I think that's based on the interview and based on the tone of everything, that seems to be the major part of the scheme that I think everybody's kind of missing out on. The scheme is set up to always make sure you're in debt to him so he can control what you do. You know what I mean? That's the scheme. You know what I mean? Because through his own admission, he says the guys that he mentioned are all losers. Well, why would he mention, ironically, if he's mentioning winners, okay, you may only be doing this with certain people that you feel you can control, or you want the scheme to be in a certain range, a certain tightness. If you did this with 1,000 people, you know what I mean? You'd be burnt. But if you only do it with 20 or 50, that might be easier to get away with having those horses in perpetual debt and you know uh people that you train in perpetual debt. And that seems to be the overall scheme of the whole matter. Make sure you check out all the stuff: the Doug Polk interview with Martin Zamani, the interview of Bree Kenney, uh, uh, done by Sarah Herring of Poker News. A lot of people, and I have to say this, like Matt Berkey, who's a good player. I've gotten information from as far as like what to do in certain spots, just like Doug Polk. I don't know these people. I don't know their politics. I'm not a super Bitcoin fan. I like gold and silver. I'm old school. You know what I'm saying? I like hard assets, gold, silver, fine art, maybe even some stocks. I'm not a big Bitcoin guy. That might be to my detriment, but I don't jump on bandwagons like everyone else. Personally, you need a shitload of GPUs in order to mine crypto, and I don't see how they're going to be able to continue to grow in GPU usage of these factories and these farming facilities and these mining facilities, based on the amount of demand that people need to have currency. I don't think they'll be able to manufacture farms big enough to provide currency, cryptocurrency to the masses on a worldwide scale. That could be just me. Maybe they'll find a way to duplicate it through some type of form of um, cloud computing where they can copy a computer and make it virtual and do it that way. In the means of technology, there's a lot of possibilities. But me, I just, like I said last time, there's too much of an opportunity for someone to tamper with it because we're dealing with code, with binary code that has a digital imprint and it has a visual digital appearance. And based on that, based on the code, a good coder, a great coder can crack a code. You know what I mean? Can write a code to hack and things like that. And so as long as we have hackers, hackers is going to be the new form of bank robbers, basically. So I just don't want people to like, yes, the digital world has opened up a lot of doors, but I don't want people to fall into like the bullshit with a lot of things. There's things that have value that are physical, and I don't think that's something we should discount. You know what I mean? Funko Pops, uh, mint condition cars, food. You know what I mean? There's certain things that water, air. You know what I mean? There's certain things that like are more valuable than like Frankenstein's monster. A lot of times we create these things and we become so enamored with our creations that we actually forget our own humanity. You know what I mean? And so that's something I'm very concerned with. But that's a whole nother subject. Zumani admitted being involved in much of the cheating. There are so many accusations, it's probably best to simply list them all. Uh, they include, and one of them was that kind of tripped me out that wasn't really talking about, that no one really talked about, was him being forced to go to Australia to smuggle drugs. Like that's a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? That is not a game. That is not a joke. That's very serious. And how you get someone to do that for you? Well, that's easy. They owe you money. You know what I mean? When someone owes you money, you'd be surprised what you'll do to try to alleviate that debt. You know what I'm saying? Again, in my opinion, that's done by design. Okay. All right. So encouraging horses to collude in satellites, which Bryn confirmed that he had horses in the same game. Okay. But saying that it was only to make sure the tables ran. That's bullshit. He's making money off the rake. So, he already admitted to enough to kind of sink him, but I see that it's kind of died down a little bit. There's not a lot of information coming out. So I just want to state some of the information that's already out. Having better players ghost horses in high stakes events. Using RT, he denies the ghosting, but says in 17 years, we'll get into all that. You know what I mean? Let's just read the article. Using RTA online and being banned by GG Poker for this. That's Sergey. What the fuck is his name? I wrote it down. Raxiv. I said it right last time. His name will come up again. I said it right last time, but I um I wrote a shitload of questions and statements, but we'll find the guy's name. It's like not Raxoff. It's not Raxoff. It's Sergey. Shit. Reichsack. Thank you. Sergey Reichsack. Let's see here. Let me make sure my YouTube is, because I don't want to miss if someone writes something. I don't want to miss that shit. All right. Okay. Kenny was able to see other players' screens when they were playing GG Poker. Okay, now I don't know if that's with a relationship he had with GG and he was able to see whole cards like the Ultimate Bet scandal, or if it was because of the Team Viewer um, remote application that he had and that was installed, that Martin claims was installed in his computer as well. Kenny befriended Lauren Robbins, but encouraged all of his horses to join her table when she was online because she was a weaker player. Then, when he was with Lauren, he would play on her account. So I said this before, that could have been a tactic to kind of, when you're scamming somebody and you're conning somebody, you want to make them believe that you're on their side, right? Also, when we talk about this, if she's in a if let's really think about this because a lot of people kind of downplayed it, Doug Polk included. If she's at a nine-handed table or a six-handed table, right? And it's funny because Bryn Kenney talked about variance. Okay, a lot of this shit you just got to pay attention, like when you really think about it. But if she's at a six-handed table, right? and three of the horses are at the same table, the odds are in their favor dramatically. The variants are in their favor dramatically because they're not aiming at each other. They're going for her, the whale, the one that has the money. That's a setup. That's scandalous. And he befriended her on top of that, which Overbet Express, shout out to you. You really, really, you know, made it clear how much of a scumbag move that was, and I appreciate that because you were one of the rare ones to really, really say how much of a scumbag move that was. It's just very scummy. You know what I mean? It's very, very scummy to do something like that. And it's like Martin wrote in his tweet, with friends like that, who needs enemies? And I wholeheartedly agree with that because again, if she's at a table like that, her odds are 50% less. She's only playing with two real players, and the other players are bots, so to speak. You know what I mean? They're horses, they're fucking real players, but they're working on behalf of Bryn Kenney in order to siphon money from Lauren Roberts because they owe Bryn money. So that's how he's able to manipulate the situation. You know what I mean? And it forced them to cheat because they are in his debt. They owe money. He's paying for their livelihood. So if they don't do it, then they wind up being in some serious trouble. Who knows what, they didn't want to they wanted to pay that debt off. They didn't want to cut the losses and stuff like that because then you have a player like Bryn Kinney trashing you just like he trashed Lauren Robbins, just like he trashed uh, Martin Zamani, just like he trashed the horses that he has. He said all the people that um, Martin mentioned are losers. You know. Now, of course, it's from a monetary standpoint, but still, the message is kind of clear in my opinion. Let's keep going. Okay. It's just wrong. Even if it's a nine-handed game, right? And there's only three horses at the table, it's wrong. Even if there's only one, it's wrong because it's not a straight up game. It's not a straight up game. There's ulterior motives. There's a hidden agenda. There's something going on beneath the surface that one player is completely unaware of. Maybe if he told her like, "Hey, I got three of my guys in this table, just so you know," and she agreed to it, that's a different story, because now she can say, okay, you got three people who you staked in this game. Well, now I'm gonna twist my game a little different because now I know that these three people are in it together, or these six people, or these however many people, right? So I'm gonna kind of play a little tight, right, to see if they go after each other. But she didn't know that. It was unbeknownst to her. So how is that okay? Or, you know, common happenstance. Like it's not. That shouldn't be happening in poker. And some of these things that are happening, poker players are getting upset because Doug Polk said something about like, oh well, using remote software to coach is not really, something that's above the norm. You know what I mean? Which, okay, fine, no problem. But when the guy is in the interview constantly saying he's too busy to coach, right? But then later on says I mean, he contradicted himself so many times in that interview, saying that, especially when it came to Roberts. It's one thing to discredit Martin Zamani because he smokes weed, he does shrooms, he kind of talks with a little bit of slang, kind of talks a little bit like just like a kind of not an arrogant kid, but just like like a he just kind of just talks like a regular person with a little bit of a rude tinge at the end of his speak. But the dude probably has a good heart because look at what he's done and look at what he's put in the forefront. Like, now, what is the motive behind it? I'm sure a clear conscience is one. If there's an ulterior motive, maybe we'll find out because people want to know, why are you doing this now? What is, but we'll find out maybe at some point. You know what I'm saying? But the point is he's doing it, and the point is we need this shit out of poker, and that's the point. We get caught up in semantics sometimes. Oh, Sarah didn't do it. You know. Here's another thing I want to mention about the interview with her. You guys think that she could have been there on some like fucking A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and shit, grilling fucking Jack Nicholson on the stand, talking about, I want the truth, you can't handle the truth. Like, you guys think it's gonna be some shit like that? Because guess what? Even though it would make Bryn look bad, He could have been like, you know what, this is not what I was expecting. I'm trying to explain myself, and you're just coming after me. You've clearly made your mind up that I'm guilty, and I'm not able to clear my name through this medium, through this platform. I'm leaving the interview. So stop with the bullshit of she didn't do this and she didn't do that. Like, cut that shit out, dude. Like, she did such a great job. You guys don't even know. Like, she asked questions and then fucking let him hang himself. And if you pay attention and stop chatting in the fucking live and actually watch the video to see what the fuck is going on, you would understand that dude fucking double spoke so many fucking times. He hung himself out to dry, and all she did was ask simple fucking questions and small to the point questions and didn't say anything after that. She didn't interject too much and corroborate his stories too much. She did it very minimalistically, and that minimalistic style was I don't know if it was done by design, but that was the perfect thing to do. And you need to, and people who are ever in that situation need to go back and watch that because in sales, I'll tell you this, and I do it all the time. I do it wrongly all the time. You can't talk all that much. You can't talk like all the time. You're going to fuck it up for yourself. Sometimes you just ask a couple questions and let them talk to you and find out what's going on. Because guess what? If they don't say anything and it's this dry ass interview, now you know that they got some. Now you know this is a waste of in sales. You're like, oh, this is a waste of my time. This person's not really opening up and letting me know how I can help them. You know what I mean? Let me go on to the next person. This is how you figure things out. Also, you don't want to say too much. You don't want to give too much information because now you're educating this person, right, on what to do, and you haven't they're not giving you anything in return. And now the roles have switched to where they're the interviewer and you're the interviewee. You don't want that either. So, a lot of people who are on these lives, we have to understand YouTube doesn't have an age restriction as far as I know, and they don't have a mental health restriction as far as I know. So understand that some of the people that are in these lives and that are saying these things, besides Matt Berkey and things like and people like that, have some kind of either mental disorder or are extremely young and don't have the capacity for rational thought and don't have the ability to use critical thinking. Critical thinking is really, really a rare commodity, you know? And so you guys need to kill that noise of repeating yourself. I go to several different channels and everyone's like, oh, well, Sarah, get the fuck out of here. You don't know shit. She did great by asking very short questions and then not saying shit. That was a masterful job, and I'll stand by that. Also, at the end, because people were complaining so much, she said yes or no. Okay, yes or no. So stop the bullshit. Okay, because what it does, it provides cover for like we start arguing with each other about something so stupid. It negates the fact of what we're really dealing with, which is which is a narcissist who's trying to pull one over on you by claiming to be Mr. Squeaky Clean innocent, but is over here keeping people in indebted servitude. Okay, that's what he's fucking doing. All right, straight up. So you guys need to understand, okay, and get with the program, and you need to and listen and let the smart people deal with the situation, okay, and sit back, relax, and enjoy your entertainment. Okay, then come to your conclusions at the end of the thing. Bye bye. Oh, she didn't like this dude's over here fucking telling people to cut their skin and do fucking frog poison fucking uh 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 trips, you know what I mean? And contradicting himself several times, but you fools are constantly putting frog emojis in the fucking chat and saying a bunch of irrelevant shit and calling it a fluff piece before the fucking piece is already done. Like it was just uncalled for, and that helps Bryn Kenney. You're actually helping Bryn Kenney with your bullshit. Besides the people like we love Bryn and stuff like that, I get it. The man is a very very talented player, but if he's been cheating and he's been doing these other things that Overbet was the first to expose. Then Martin confirmed. Then Lauren confirmed. I'm sorry, Brent. In my opinion, you have a serious fucking problem. Okay, you have a serious problem, and you want to fucking attack Doug Polk and say, "Oh, I'll sue you," and whoop de whoop, motherfucker. You got a problem that you need to deal with because now the poker community knows what's up. So you could sue, you can threaten me, you could do all this shit, but guess what? What you can't deny is the fact that three people in a certain time frame could basically came out with information and it got corroborated as time went on. And there's pros who don't want to say anything, who behind the scenes have spoken with Matt Berkey and Doug Polk and over Bet Express and confirmed this shit and confirmed what Zamani said. So you know what? Maybe you should get your motherfucking lawyers. But guess what? It's not going to be to fucking go after people. It's gonna be to fucking try to save your ass from the bullshit you did. Okay, so let's calm down with the fucking intimidation tactics and shit like that. One thing I can't stand is a fucking criminal who's in the wrong trying to attack you for doing what's right, for doing the godly thing and bringing the truth. Okay, so this shit pisses me off. I can't stand conniving fucking con men. I hate that shit. That shit exists in gold. That shit exists in politics. That shit is all rampant through the internet, and I'm fucking sick of it. And that's why I'm pissed off. And you fucking little kids and you people who are adults who don't have the maturity or the capacity to understand what's going on are messing it up before we even get to the fucking truth. So calm the fuck down, okay? And let the people handle what they got to handle. I don't claim to be a genius, but I also have the mannerisms to be patient enough to watch what's going on to get to the factoids, and that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, all right. So acting like a cult leader and forcing his horses to adhere to his healthy lifestyle, including eating vegan food, meditation, visiting his psychic, visiting a shaman, and forcing horses to take drugs, including mushrooms, frog poison. This isn't a joke. Yeah, this is true. And he confirmed it. He said this was true. Okay. But he didn't say that he forced him. He said it was a recommendation. Okay. All right. But there is a shaman and there is a psychic. Okay. But he's saying it's merely a recommendation. The man takes psychedelics. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with that. But when you the problem I have is, again, when you make sure people are in perpetual debt, okay? That's the problem that I have. Because understand what happened with Lauren was a debt trap that he pulled on her through poker. It was a scheme. In my opinion, it was a scheme. Let's continue. Getting Zamani to smuggle drugs into Australia. Uh-oh. Okay, making Luke's works paint a mural of him if he wanted staking. You know, I'm into graffiti art. Look, when you're asking people for money to help you, if the guy wanted a mural, that's not a super big deal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it may show something about his narcissism, like, hey, paint a mural of me, wooty woo. But 10,000 for a mural or 5,000. Look, it's hard to get backers. And let's keep it real. If you love poker like I do, you're addicted to playing. You're addicted to it. It's addicting. I love playing poker. It's one of the things I love the most doing. There's nothing like flopping a set over set or sucking out on the fucking turn of the river or hitting the gin on the river. I mean, the feeling is astronomical, and you're playing perfect poker. You're not making any mistakes. Your bluffs are going through. There's nothing like that feeling of playing phenomenal poker against people who are real, who are trying to take your money. It's the best of the best. It's mind against mind. There's nothing like it. And so if you're poor, you don't have the assets, but you want to play, and you're in the United States, okay, you don't really have a lot of options as far as playing worldwide. So you might have to go to Canada and Mexico. I know that was the thing people were doing in the beginning, going on Poker Stars, and going on, to Canada and Mexico. You know what I mean? But I could be wrong, and I'll let the other experts chime in. But my understanding was that you can be in Vegas and in the other states and still gamble on a worldwide level against worldwide players. Now, if that's not the case, then okay. But I remember jumping on Poker Stars when it started to become legal within the United States, and them saying you're not in Vegas, especially on WSOP. It would say you're not in Vegas, you're not in New Jersey, according to our location of you, because you would give up your location or you would type your address or whatever. And that was it. You couldn't. It would be play money, and that's it, unless you went over and had an address and you put in a fake address or something, or Even if you put a fake address, I think they actually ask for you to put it to give up your location or whatever. So, you know, that would make it to where you couldn't play unless you went somewhere like that, you know what I mean? But we'll see if that's still something, or if it's only gambling within 5 states. And I can see that Zamani would have no choice than to go to Mexico, because look, you want to play against all the best players in the world, because every other state, or excuse me, every other country you can play. The United States, unfortunately, you cannot. So Brazil, Russia, which fuck Russia right now. I don't give a fuck. Fuck Russia. I don't care what anyone says. Fuck Russia. They keep threatening to nuke us. Fuck Russia. Okay, you wanna kiss their ass? That's on you. I'm not getting down like that. I hate Putin. Fuck Vladimir Putin. Fuck Russia. You know what I mean? But anyway, um, with that being said, we're behind the curve on being able to play poker. So if he had to go to Mexico in order to have a massive crowd of people, to be able to play the Sunday Millions on Poker Stars and have, I don't know, 5,000 people play, that's important. You need that so you can make millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? You need that kind of crowd. So if that's something he had to do, that's understandable. You know what I mean? If it was something he was forced to do, I would appreciate if somebody would say, "No, yeah, you can gamble on Poker Stars and WSOP and GG and Party Poker. You can gamble on there and be in Vegas, and you could still gamble against players all around the world." Then that would basically make it seem that Bryn Kenney wanted them in Mexico for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Making Luke Schwartz paint a mural of him, again, that's not a real big deal. Um, it just goes to the mindset of Bryn Kenny, I guess. But that doesn't. I love graffiti, so that doesn't really bother me too much. Forcing horses who had just got out of makeup to every, excuse me, forcing horses who had just got out of makeup to play very high stakes. This is a part of the scam that's so important. Okay. The reason why he would make Martin play 10Ks on party or whatever the fuck it is, right? You just got out. You just got out of being in debt. If he forces you, like, hey, I'll stake you 50,000 after you literally just got out of paying him back 250K, and you think to yourself, well, shit, I got a chance to make 4.5 million if I hit the number one, right? Because that's what we're all going for. We're all going for number one. If you play poker, you're going to win the tournament. That's what you're going for, right? That's your goal, is to win the championship, win the tournament, win the title, win the number one prize. Nobody wants to go and get second, even though 2.5 million is fucking life changing money to a certain aspect. But nobody wants to just not get first. Everyone's goal is first. So if you're getting, restaked for 50 after you just got out of debt, I can see how somebody would jump on that. But that's a part of the debt trap that, in my opinion, if the allegations are true, that Mr. Kenny is trying to put on his horses so he can keep them under his fucking thumb. Other names alleged to have taken part include Mark Herm, Sergei Rysak, and David Mizakowski. Okay, let's see. The whole thing really is even more wild than the list above suggests, and is quite a rabbit hole. Many people in the poker world have since come out and confirmed that they had heard similar things. Although this was hinted at a few weeks ago by streamer Henry Kilbane. Okay, now let's play what Overbet said.
And a lot of people I've spoken to in private, without like naming any names, some of the elite people have also discussed him, Jake Schindler, Bryn Kenney, and then a lot of their horses as well.
This is people I watched, man. Like Jake Schindler, like I watch this dude all the time, man. It's just sad, man. It's fucking sad, bro. It's so fucking sad, dude. You know what I mean? And so my bad. This is all recent. This is all recent, but he came out first and said it. But this was recent. This was recent. This wasn't a year ago. So my bad. I don't want to give false information. If I have a Freudian slip or I say the wrong thing, feel free to correct me and put it in a comment or something. I want to get to the truth. But he was the first one to come out with this, and this was fairly recent. And then it was Martin, and then it was Lauren, or I don't know if it was necessarily in that order, but the three of them came out. So it's more than just one person saying, and this is Overbet saying that people have come to him telling him what the fuck was going on.
Like there, I remember seeing a
And he doesn't just mention Bryn Kenney. He's talking about cheating in general, and he's laying down everyone who's involved with this shit. And Bryn Kenney's name just happened to appear with the Ali scandal and everything else that's been going on.
screenshot from a Discord group where Bryn was like literally telling his horses to use this software whilst playing. It's pretty
Okay,
insane. Literally telling his
Here we go.
so discuss him, Jake Schindler, Bryn Kenney, and then a lot of their horses as well. Like there, I remember seeing a screenshot from a Discord group where Bryn was like literally telling his horses to use this software whilst playing. It's pretty insane.
Who told him that?
Where like there, I remember seeing a screenshot from a Discord group where Schindler have also discussed him, Jake Schindler, Bryn Kenney, and then a lot of their horses as well. Like there, I remember seeing a screenshot from a Discord group where Bryn was like literally telling his horses to use this software whilst playing.
Okay, so it's just a screenshot from a Discord group.
It's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. Literally telling his horses to use this software whilst playing. It's pretty insane.
The RTA software.
Jam Bud. Wow, that's absolutely wild.
All right, man. So you know what? It doesn't look good for Bryn, in my opinion. If the allegations are true, it doesn't look good. Okay, Polk. We talked about this. He streamed with Zumani. He was threatened by Kenny. We talked about these things already. Let's see. First time I've been happy about something I've done, whatever the consequences of my parts played. Okay, look. So it's clear that Martin may have some depression things. I got no problem with that. I suffer from depression. It's very common. You know what I'm saying? Don't be so hard on yourself. And if this helped you feel good about yourself, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. You know what I'm saying? If the story's true and you felt bad about what was going on, and this is the first time you felt good in a long time by getting this weight off your chest, I'm happy for you. If everything is true, I don't know the man's track history. I don't know if he's a shady character. You know, obviously it's easy to demonize him because he was cheating with them, but you got to give the man some credit for exposing the stuff from the inside. Now, if he had an ulterior motive to do so, extortion or something, I don't know. You know what I mean? I honestly don't know. Notable players coming out to corroborate the allegations. So, you know, it's like, dude, little old channels like me and people like Doug Polk, big channels like Doug Polk, you can say whatever you want to say, but it says people, okay? Notable players. Okay, so you could fucking try to intimidate whatever, but it's more than just one player, guy. It's more than just one person. So you're in deep shit. You're in deep shit. You're fucking in deep shit. So, you know, the nerve of this motherfucker, dude, to do some shit like to do what he did and then have the nerve to threaten people with it and try to intimidate them. You know, but this is what criminals do, man. The criminals do shit like this. Shout out to Barry Carter for writing this article. Let's move on. I'm taking too long. Let's see. Bryn Kenney accused of many instances of cheating according to Poker Strategies. It's the same article. Oh, weird. I got the same article twice. Yeah, the same article. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. All right, Lauren Roberts and Sergey Raxoff react to Bryn Kenney cheating allegations. Okay. This is a long article. We're not going to go into everything. I remember this. This is a long article. Read this. Read this article. This one's on Poker News. This is actually on Poker News. And I remember seeing this tweet from Farrah Galfon. It made me sick watching Lauren and Joel trust him when he accused my Phil of super using. It very much felt like a classic case of a homophobe being closeted. So I waited patiently for this day to come. The truth always comes out. You shady fucks. You know what I'm saying? He 22, which is Lauren Roberts, was one of the biggest losers, but 5Ks and 10Ks running 24/7. But 5Ks and yeah, okay. Here's some Adderall, my good friend. Keep grinding, you'll get it back. Shockingly enough, they aren't around anymore. Only took 2 million to realize Bryn was poaching them for his horses. Friends like that who needs enemies. We talked about that, okay? This is where she goes in. We're gonna because we're taking too long in the intro of this. I'm not gonna go through all the statements and questions because, like I said, I don't want to take too long with this shit. Um, but I just want you to know what's out there. One thing I will say though is Martin's text, if he's using an iPhone, look kind of sus because the texts are not different colors. Like typically with an iPhone, you would have this color text, this color text. I don't know. I don't screenshot a lot of text messages, so if things look kind of strange or whatever to you, let me know. People have said something about Lauren Roberts' texts. There not being dates and stuff like that. So I don't know, but that was something that kind of stood out from the text that I saw from Martin. The text seemed to be you can't differentiate who's who unless you see the name on the top, and then the name was in green. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if there was certain things that were talked about that he didn't want to come out, so he re you know posted or photoshopped the tweet. I don't know, but that was one thing that was kind of odd. Her hers seemed to be this all seems to be pretty legit, but I don't see any dates. So, it's about getting the truth out, guys. It's about getting the truth out. And that's something that does okay, here no, hold on. Here we have a date. Excuse me, I misspoke. Here we have a date, January 25th, 2021, 8 p.m. Okay, so the rumor of Lauren Roberts not having dates on her text is false. So let's squash that right now. That's a false rumor because here we can clearly see January 25th, 2021 at 8 p.m. Okay, there's a date there. And then also January 27th, 2021, 6:19 a.m. Okay, so whoever said that there wasn't any dates on Lauren Roberts' text, you didn't do your homework and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And so this is why we're going through what we're going through, guys, so we can get to the truth. So sorry about that. Let's kill that noise right now. Um, let's kill that noise right now. Okay. Maybe there's an additional article that we'll save that for another time. But there's some really interesting stuff here. This is where she talks about, and she brings it up later in her text, that he's expecting her to pay at least, I don't know, 2.2, and then it went down to 700,000 because he jumped on her account and supposedly she wanted to turn him in. This is when she started to realize something funny was going on. But out of 1,000 people, he's back. This is what he's saying in the text. I don't have the spreadsheet, which is what he said in the interview, for the 1,000 people I've dealt with, but I never been wrong on the number. Meanwhile, in the interview, he says, "Oh, she made back about 1.5 from the action I gave her." Then he says, about one to 1.3. So how much does she owe you, Bryn? 700,000 or 1 million? 700,000, or let's see if he's saying okay, or 900,000. There's a big difference between 700,000, 900,000, and 1 million. There's a big difference. To you it may be nothing or whatever. Like if you're that loose with your money, like no wonder why you're losing money and why you're playing the games you're playing, because you're too lax with the books, like she says. You know what I mean? And that's based off of your own fucking interview. Let's see. The text here's Lauren Roberts in a tweet. The text I shared were recent were a recent argument with Bryn telling me I owe him money and asking me for an accounting. Notice how the number keeps changing. He wrote in the book, but then there was no book. He tracks 1,000 people, no spreadsheet, never wrong. Again, that's fucking super sus. And then Sergey Rysak is like, well, I didn't use RTA, but I used charts, so I got kicked for charts. The bottom line is they kicked you, okay, based on, and it looks like they kicked you for RTA, okay, so and then they went with the story of he asked for his hands can prove blah blah blah. Fuck all that, dude. You got kicked, and if it was charts, that's cheating anyway. So you got kicked. The nerve of people, man. The nerve of cheaters, man. The nerve of narcissists. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go ahead and finish this off real quick. So when you go to the interview, which I recommend, that Poker News did a great job. Bryn's personality seems to be very boastful. He seems to always mention how great he is as a poker player, that he never made mistakes, and he's just trying to help people, and he never he he only admits to doing something wrong maybe once or twice. He doesn't admit to doing wrong things too many times. You know what I mean? And he makes him. I mean, he's a good player, but damn, he really like takes this position of I'm superior. I'm a superior player, and you're a peon. You know what I mean? And like that's the attitude I get from him. Bryn paints Martin Zamani as depressed. He didn't have any friends, according to Bryn. Uh, and Bryn does say that he staked too many people. That is the mistake that he says that he did. He staked too many people. That's the one thing he admitted was a mistake. Okay. One question I have is why didn't they play in Canada? That's one question I have. Why Mexico? Why not in Canada? That's one question that I have. Why didn't you guys play in Canada? I'm just curious about that. Why didn't they play in Canada? That's all I want to know. Let's see. Bryn confirms the psychic. He confirms the shaman. He confirms the horses playing at the same tables in the same games. He confirms all that shit. That's shady right there with the in the same games in the same tables. That's shady as fuck. It's shady as fuck. Okay, it just is. Why don't we do this because we're not really gonna look too much more on the articles and stuff. So we'll just do this. Just do a full. Okay, we'll do that. All right. I need to lose some weight, guys. I'm so fat. It's ridiculous. So excuse me if you see my fatness. I don't mean to be gross or anything like that. But definitely need to lose some weight, guys. Um yeah, the horses at the same, let alone the same game, but the same table, like goddamn, like that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? And if it's the same game, again, I said this in the video. I said this last time. If you're playing the World Series of Poker, right? Okay, you're playing the World Series of Poker, or you have horses in the World Series of Poker. Let's say you got and this is a lot of money, but let's say you got 100 people in the World Series that are your horses that you backed. Okay, and let's say 10,000 people enter that tournament. You have a 1% chance, which is extremely high. You have a 1% chance of making it to the of winning the tournament, of having one of your horses, because you got so many people. It's cheating. It's fucking cheating. And why is it allowed? How that's colluding. How is that okay? How is it okay that 20 people enter a tournament altogether backed by one guy? You're using the variance, you're using the odds, like fucking Hunger Games. May the odds be ever in your fucking favor. That's basically what you're doing. And it's ridiculous that shit like that is allowed. And maybe it's hard to crack down on something like that. You know what I mean? There needs to be more disclosures on staking. There has to be some kind of staking disclosure where you wear like a fucking pin or some shit that says backed by this person. You know what I mean? But everything is kind of just loose, and you know, poker's poker, believe it or not, is still a relatively new sport. You know what I mean? In a sense, it's only been around since what, the '60s, the '70s. You know what I mean? I know that's a while, but it's still kind of and there hasn't been any regulation. There has to be some kind of regulation. Otherwise, you're always going to have shit like this going on. And then you have people, the fucking Bitcoin lovers and the Trump huggers, the Trump nut huggers talking about, oh, well, fuck regulation and blah, blah, blah. This is why you need regulation, because of assholes who fucking abuse the system. This is the reason why government exists, is to make sure that criminals don't get away with criminality. But you idiots talking about less government. You know what happens when you get less government? You get people trying to fucking burn down the Capitol. That's what happens. Okay? That's what fucking happens. And so please miss me with your fucking libertarian ideology coming from Iron Rand, a person who um, tried to justify the eradication of Native Americans. Okay? All right? Those are the people you look up to. Genocidal maniacs and anarchists. Okay? Those are people that you look up to. You want to talk about Antifa? According to you, Antifa was over there, but I didn't see no fucking Antifa people. Okay? Get the fuck out of here, dude. There was no Antifa. Antifa was anti-fascist with it. Dude. They did a great acting job. Wiping shit on the walls and shit like that. Come on, man. You could trace these people back and find out their support for the former president was fucking was a long awaited a long process, that there's a paper trail to their uh, fanaticism towards the former president. All right, this libertarian ideology idea of rules and regulations are unnecessary. That comes from the mindset of a person who wants to do whatever they can to do for the sake of them being on top, and doesn't want any type of accountability whatsoever. Murder, rape. You see what's going on now with the abortion thing. Now the Republicans are coming out justifying rape. One lady came out today, a Republican lawmaker, saying, "Oh, rape is an opportunity for a woman. She has an opportunity." Like what? Like this is the shit. But you guys want to argue with me and your sycophantic cult, okay? And blame black people for killing Asians when you had a fucking mass shooter who was not black, and you had numerous different people of different races all attacking Asians. Okay? So don't just put it on a certain race of people, okay? Like it's their fault when you have people who are mentally ill and unstable, unfortunately committing hate crimes against a particular race of people, which is wrong. But then you try to single out a race as if, oh, these are the motherfuckers responsible. It's just sick and it's twisted. And everything's being twisted around because, in my opinion, the overall goal of the extreme right is to make sure there's no resurgence of a civil rights movement. That's their number one fear, is making sure there isn't a resurgence of the civil rights movement. But I digress. Something that's very strange is the people that Bryn stakes don't make any money. They don't make any money. Lauren didn't make any money. She lost. Martin didn't make any money. He lost. The people, according to Bryn in the interview, watch the interview, they're all losers. The one that Martin named, through his own admission, the one that Martin named, are all losers. Why is Martin going to name people that he's not affiliated with? I'm not going to talk about Phil Ivey if I don't know him. I'm not going to talk about Phil Ivey if Phil Ivey and Bryn and fucking Dan Negreanu are all in the same room together, and I'm there and I'm one of his horses, and they're scheming and they're in on the scheme. I'm gonna talk to you and be like, yo, this person was here, this person was there, this is what they were running. I heard them on the phone. This was the plan. This is what they were doing. You're only gonna talk about shit that you know. You're not gonna talk about an associate that Bryn did business with 5 years ago when you had no relationship with Bryn at the time. It makes no sense. But the way he's trying to explain this shit and get himself off the hook, it makes no sense. And then you find out, like, okay, well, none of the people that you backed, Martin, Lauren, made any fucking money. They didn't make any fucking money. And through your own admission, these are losers and people. She thought more of herself and maybe she wanted to be like me. And, she wasn't being realistic about her poker game, and he just bashing them. But you believe in people, you believe in people and their abilities. Like the guy just constantly contradicted himself, man. He's kind of, in my opinion, he comes off as very sick and narcissistic. Okay, he keeps them in debt so they will do what he says. Like I said, okay, it's obvious. He talked way too much, like I'm doing right now. He talked way too much. Okay, the cheating allegations go beyond small satellites. He tried to make it seem like, oh, if it's small, in the tweet, Martin says, especially saddies, but 5 and 10Ks as well. He wouldn't let me play a 5 or a 10 unless it was a certain circumstance. So it was across the board. So don't let uh Bryn uh uh change the narrative. That's what he's trying to do. He befriended Lauren Roberts, then he had people play in her in the games in order to make sure that she lost so he could get paid from that shit. Okay? All right? And then wants to say, oh, I took out a loan of credit. We don't know your relationship with Gigi. We don't know what that's about. All right? You didn't want to divulge that information. So we have to assume that you had no fucking financial losses that you were taking from Gigi because there's no records or books indicating so. We have to take your word for it. And honestly, your word don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you were flip flopping and shit. Throughout the whole interview, you just flip flops. Like I said, we jumped ahead a lot. So some of the stuff we already addressed. If people who owe him money play her, her losses would go straight to him, right? If he has if he has 4 horses at the table with her, it's 9-handed table, right? He has 4 of his horses there. They all owe him $100,000, right? Or let's say they all owe him $300,000. Let's just say, for argument's sake, according to him, they all owe him $300,000. Like he claimed Martin owed 350. They all owe him that much money, right? When she loses to his horses, that money doesn't go to them. That money goes to him because they owe him the money. They're playing on his behalf. That money goes to Bryn. And he gets paid from GG. Just like Doug Polk says, he's got so many ways. Let's give him some credit, right? He's got so many ways where he's making money from this situation. And that's a fact. Every single way that it's designed, it all points to him making the money. He's got them playing his horses that owe him the money, taking money from her, which is supposed to be his friend. He's like, well, why would I take money from myself? Whoopty wop. Because you're getting override from GG anyway. So you're making money. Don't try to play us like we're stupid, dude. Don't try to play me like I'm dumb with your fucking bullshit. Like people can't see through his shit. Yeah, the money all goes to him. He's getting paid from GG. Lauren hired him as a coach, which he claims to never coach. Okay, his horses owe him money. So whatever money they get from her goes to him. No matter how you look at the situation, the money goes to him. And it's set up that way purposely by design because he's fucking scamming. Getting double paid from the site, from his horse. He's getting paid from every angle. The site, the horses, Lauren, all the money's going to him. All routes go straight to him. Like that's why it's like, dude, how dare you have the nerve to fucking act all boastful when clearly everyone can see the money's all going to you. Follow the money. Okay? So that's the person that looks the most guilty is who's the money all going towards. So you got these people working, but they're working on behest of you because they owe you. And they feel like they got to do what you say because they're in your pocket. Like it's so fucking obvious, man. He jumped on her account to make it seem like he was on her side to hide his thievery. That's a fact. Also, too, if she was like, damn, I'm down 2.2 and it didn't fucking seem right to her, guess what? Now all of a sudden he gives her action. Oh, and now magically you're only down one or 900 or 700. The numbers going all over the place, just like her tweet said. Okay, so it's just crazy. It's just crazy. The money's going to him. Okay, and if he jumps on her account, all right, it's to make things seem like everything's on the up and up. Okay, to hide his connivery, him being conniving. That's the purpose of it. Okay, and also be like, oh, like she said, magically she won a tournament. Like Sarah said, magically she claims that she won a she claimed that you magically told her she won a tournament, and now she only owes 700,000. Okay, so from 2.2 million to now only owing 700,000, but then he kept hitting the 2.2 number, but then all of a sudden she was good and only owed 700,000. I mean, the numbers are so fudged, and the way the operation is set up, it's so bullshit, and there's no paper trail. You see how do you see how shady it looks? And then his thing is, "Oh, I'm naive." No, dude, you're doing this on purpose. You're doing this on purpose. It's done like that so that way you could just claim like, "Oh, well, it was all my word and whoop de wop and I just, thought it would be like this and these were my friends and I trusted them and they took advantage of me." You're hoping because there's no books, you can say and do whatever you want and make money however you want and squeeze these motherfuckers, and there's not going to be a paper trail to lead to you and your conniving ways because then it's all documented. So that's how you're trying to get away with the scam. It's just so obvious. It's so obvious. You know what I'm saying? He thinks he's smart. And he kind of is smart. He kind of is a smart guy, but you know, you know, uh the truth always comes out, man. He has remote software, which is a no playing poker. Look, with online poker, like I said earlier, we jumped the gun and I said this earlier. WSOP, which I don't even think is a thing anymore as far as I think they're GG now. I don't know. I've been out of the poker loop for a while. But WSOP, when they started doing, you could gamble if you were in Vegas, when they switched from play money to real money, okay, as poker became more regulated online and more states opened up from Vegas to New Jersey to the seven I read in the last West Virginia, Delaware, all these different states, right? As that increased, or even before when it was just getting started, it clearly said that you can't have any type of remote software or VPN. Now, how are they doing this with NordVPN and all this stuff? I don't know. Maybe these are VPNs that are able to mask their destination a little bit better. But if you had a remote software in your computer, you couldn't even open World Series of Poker, which is this right here, worldseriesofpoker.com, right here. This one right here. You couldn't open it. And then a box will pop up saying you have remote software. So remote software is a no-no. That's a no-no. Me being an amateur, not even playing with a lot of real money at times, knew that. But y'all don't know that? Y'all don't know that? You see, you got to understand that's a way for them to make money, a lot of money, from the comfort of their own home in their pajamas and shit without having to go all the way to Mexico, doing it in the United States, taking the risk so they can gamble. What's his name said he does that? Clicks, who plays Fortnite, says he said it straight up on his Twitter. I fucking have a VPN so I can gamble. Straight up. And the kid's barely 18 or maybe 19 now. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. That's what they're doing. And so, this is what's happening. But you have situations where you have somebody like this who's who's exploiting. He's exploiting what he can exploit. That's what's happening. He's exploiting the whole thing. He claims to be too busy to coach, and then admitted to coaching Lauren. He said that he had no financial gain. Then why is he texting her that she owes him money. That Doug Polk pointed that shit out, and that was something I pointed out in the first video. Okay, I mean this stuff is. I mean, when you guys watch the interview, you're gonna understand all this shit. Let's go through. Let's just get. It's already taken too long, so let's just finish these last things. Sergey Reichstag is banned for using charts. Bryn still stands up for him. Bryn claims he doesn't know anything, but knows all the details at the same time. Well, I don't know anything, but I believe it was one day and it only happened 4 times, or it was one game that it's like, okay, you don't know anything, but now you're telling us more details on the on the story that we didn't even really know that much. You don't know everything, but you do. Again, all the contradictions. He was by him giving the information he was giving, he was essentially hanging himself. Let's see, he claims there was no ghosting, but then gave the whole in my how many times did he say? He said 3 times he said in my 17 years of playing. I'm not gonna say within 17 years that I wasn't in the same room for with people and gave them a little bit of advice in my whole 17 years of playing. I'm not gonna say I didn't do that. But at the same time, no, I didn't go double speak, contradictions, giving you a little bit of breadcrumbs to see if you follow the trail. I mean, come on, man. This shit is he thinks everyone's stupid. He's arrogant and he thinks everyone's fucking dumb. You know what I mean? He thinks everyone's a bunch of losers that he can manipulate. Straight up. And I know by losers he means financially, but trust me, he kept on twisting that fucking nail in, basically like letting, oh, she didn't think her game was good. These people are losers. I'm the best in the world. Like, dude, it was hard. It was hard to watch, man. It was hard to watch. And then he admitted, okay, you're not ghosting, but you got horses at the table, which you admitted. Come on, man. Miss me with that bullshit. He says he backed thousands of people, but doesn't have any books or finances on it. We discussed that. Lauren tweeted about that. It's all facts. When Sarah asked Bryn, did Sergey ghost Martin? He says Martin went all in with 7 deuce suited or offsuit. So he says, no, I didn't have him ghost. But when you have somebody go in with seven, when someone goes, he said he claimed that he was going to go in with any 2 cards, and he went all in 3-handed with 7 deuce suited or offsuit. And when you see something like that go on, you think you try to you rethink your relationship with that person. Come on, man. It's this half in, half out. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Bullshit that he kept trying to do the whole interview, and that confirms Martin's story. It confirms Martin's story. You know what I'm saying? Because he's saying no, he didn't have that happen. But at the same time, when someone goes in with 7 deuce, you want to reevaluate. That's an admission. When he says when someone goes in, what he's saying is, shit, I want to make sure motherfuckers ain't losing my money. But he's doing it in a roundabout way, saying it differently to make it seem like no, he's not ghosting and doing things. But at the same time, how many times did he say at the same time? How many times did he keep saying, but at the same time? Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe maybe it's just I'm just reaching and I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, again, this is my opinion. Okay. I want to be clear. And I don't have GG's card history in front of me. I don't have other people beside I never did an interview with Martin. I never did an interview with Lauren. I never did an interview with Overbet Express, Doug Polk, Joe Ingram, or Bryn Kenney, or any of the people, uh, Mr. or Mrs. Galfon. I haven't done an interview with any of these people. Okay. So I'm just going off base of what I've been reading online and off the interview. That's what I'm going off of. And so, in my opinion, I'm just listing all the things that seem little bit that seem peculiar to me. Okay. He jumped on Lauren's account to lower the amount she owed. He was playing against himself to have no risk while sucking money from Mrs. Roberts. Again, he's like, well, why would I play with against myself? One, because you're making money from GG, like we discussed. Two, the people that you're playing against are horses by his own admission. So he's playing against himself. These people owe him money. So when he jumps on her account, he wasn't losing any money. He was making money from GG, and the people he was playing against owe him money, and he's on an account of somebody that he was trying to siphon her money. That's why. You see, when you put it all together, you're like, okay, they were your horses, and we discussed this before. They already owe you money. So any money Lauren loses goes to you. You're on her account to make it seem like everything's on the up and up. She doesn't know that you got your horses in there. Okay. So you jumped on her account. You played, allegedly, you played against people who owed you money because any money that came from her that you lost would come automatically back to you. Plus, she was paying you for coaching. Like, come on, dude. Like, it was done so he could get money from her, right? Okay, but if you're not losing, like, why would you take money from yourself? Because it's your money. So if you stake them 50,000 each to get in the game, or 5,000 or 10,000, by by let's say, for example, he sucked 20,000 or 50,000 from them, lowering the amount of money that she owed him, right? So now she only owes 700,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, dude, it's so convoluted. And again, it's done by design. He's doing it on purpose. He's doing it to make it so muddy, it's hard to understand what he's doing, but he knows what he's doing. He knows how he's making money. He knows. He knows if he jumps on her account, it's gonna try to make it look like he's on her side covering her tracks. He's playing against his own horses. And let's say said horses lost to him. What does it matter if she owes him 2.2 anyway? All he did was lower the amount from 2.2 to 700 because she started to get wise to what he was doing. It's I know it sounds complicated, but when you really think about it, you have that light bulb moment where it's like, wait a minute, dude, you're not you're taking money from yourself on a person who owes money that you claimed that you didn't stake, but you took out a line of credit. He's scamming her. He's trying to suck money from her. She's the mark. So he jumps on the computer and says, okay, she's on to me. Okay, I'll make a cool mill on her account, so she'll only owe me 1 million now. The money points back to him. Like I said, the money points back to him. The money's all going to him. Okay. This is a part of the plan of him trying to cover his tracks and make it seem like, oh, why would I do that? Why would I take money from myself? That makes no sense. Because you're not taking money from yourself. You're actually making money by beating your horses, believe it or not. All you did was lower the amount to make it seem like that 2.2 wasn't too crazy. Like, oh, it was 2.2, but now it's only 700 or 900 or 1 million because the fucking figures are all over the place, just like the Lauren Roberts text said that I read you earlier. It's crazy, man. The dude's running a crazy ass scam. He's running a crazy ass scam. All right, last page, and then we're done. He contradicts himself a lot, and it seems that he was scamming GG Poker as well. I mean, this is why I'm saying this, and I have no evidence for this. But if he's doing all this, right, this whole thing is so convoluted and so confusing, right? And he's making money from GG. He's making money from Whoopty Wop. We have to assume he took out a line of credit. I don't trust this man. I don't trust him. In my opinion, he's lying about everything he's saying. So why are we supposed to believe that he took out a line of credit and owes GG money? He's scamming everybody. He's scamming his horses. He's scamming his student. He's scamming his GG because the money all goes to him. He's setting up these games. And the way he gets GG on the scam and says, hey, look, I'll keep the tables going because, I know you're trying to get these saddies up and running and you want to make sure that, At first, you don't have big guarantees, so we'll run the saddies, but you're scamming people who jumped in on the. And guess what? Because of that, people who played in GG, okay, who weren't a part of that, that were just playing, entering a tournament on their own money. You see how GG or Party Poker, when they find out someone's cheating, what they do? They took the 200,000 from Derserwild or whatever the fuck that dude's name is, and from other people, and they disseminated it and spread it amongst 4,000 people. Why? Because those people got scammed. So guess what? The people who weren't Lauren, who weren't the horses that were in the games of the satellites, dude. If I got 200 for a satellite or 500, and that's all I got, I work at fucking McDonald's. Okay, right now, personally, I don't even have a job. I went to Jersey Mike's today and did an interview. I'm trying to find a job. But if I get two jobs and I save my measly 3 to 500, and I jump on a table to get in a satellite so I can get into a 5K, and he's got 4 horses plus Lauren in that game, or he just got all horses, Lauren's not even in there, and you're going in playing against Bryn Kenney and all of his horses, thinking it's a regular match. You mean to tell me they're all playing against each other? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, get out of here. Like, get out of here. That shit was set up to siphon money from people, let alone the whole card allegations, which takes it to a whole nother level if those allegations are true. But based already on what he's admitted and what went down, okay, by him claiming GG, he was trying to get them up and running. Oh, you see, I'm Mr. Innocent. I'm just trying to help them. No, he's scamming everybody. He's scamming everyone because the money goes to him. He's making the most. According to Martin Zamani, he was making 2 million a week. I don't know if that's true, but that's some of the allegations that was said in the Dub Poke interview. Okay, so he's the one scamming everybody, and the random player who's just trying to play poker like you or me. That's like you going or me going to play. Let's say you go. Let's say you save up 50,000 and you head to Canada. You get your little apartment to chase your poker dream, and you're playing on GG, you're entering in these tournaments. Come to find out, you're being fucking bamboozled by Brian Ken or by Bryn Kenney and his fucking indebted servitude motherfuckers. Come on, man, this shit is sick, dude. The guy's sick, dude. The guy's literally sick, dude. He literally is sick. It's crazy, man. It's disgusting. He think he found a smart way, in my opinion, to scam people and to get over on everybody by claiming, "Oh, I'm just trying to help GG. I'm Mr. fucking Boy Scout helping everybody. Woe is me and shit. I'm just trying to build this whole source." And if you believe that GG's relationship with him ended amicably, I can't even say the word. I'm so pissed off. If you believe that it ended on good terms, okay, um, and then you'll believe anything. And that's another thing. It's like everybody wants to talk about corruption, but they have people that they like who are corrupt, and then all their morals and values go out the window because they like somebody. An example, the former president. They all want to talk about Hillary Clinton emails. She's corrupt. The Biden crime family, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, there's tons of evidence that shows that Donald Trump was the most corrupt president we've had in our history. The evidence is all out there. But I like the guy. The government's corrupt anyway. I don't trust fake news. So don't talk about corruption then, because you don't care about that. You only care about when certain people are corrupt, and others who are corrupt, you'll give them a pass because they tell you funny jokes, because they agree with your racism. This is what they call little white lies. Okay? This is the culture that they perpetuate on a subconscious level or directly. And we got to call it out, man. You can't you can't you can't be for corruption and against corruption at the same time. Again, the contradicting nature of the human psyche of these particularly sick individuals. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who try to take both sides of the fucking uh position. Do you know anybody who's a dealer and a fucking player at the same time? I mean, unless you're playing a home game, right? And even then, you pass the deal to somebody else, right? You pass the deck to somebody else, right? So if you like Donald Trump, don't talk to me about the Biden crime family, okay? Because it wasn't Joe Biden that went to Istanbul at the Hilton Hotel and took a picture and a video saying, I'm at Trump Tower and look how lovely things are. And then you go to the real property and there isn't even a parking lot to get up in there. They're at the Hilton. Ivanka Trump was at the Hilton. But that's okay. You don't want businesses going across overseas, but you're okay with a president, a former president who has a company in India and a company in China to make his ties? You want to say, oh, Barack Obama made 230 million while he was president? Trump made 575 billion, as far as we know. Jared Kushner, you want to talk to me about Hunter Biden's fucking laptop? Meanwhile, Jared Kushner and fucking Steve Mnuchin walked away with $3 billion. So you're not against corruption. You got no problem with corruption. You're just against the Democrats just because you play team politics. You want the Blue Jays to win. You want the Red Sox to win. You don't care who's on steroids. You want the Red Sox to win, but you'll call the Blue Jays and say, those motherfuckers are on steroids. Meanwhile, you're shooting fucking juice in fucking someone's butt cheeks. Pause. This is the shit that we're dealing with. And the crazy thing about it, it's tens upon tens of millions of people that are twisted like this. And then you got a madman talking about, I'm gonna nuke you motherfuckers with a plague on top of that. And then social media pushing propaganda and fraud behind the guise of marketing. This is what we're dealing with. He keeps no books. So that way everyone owes him. Again, some of this stuff we went through and we already said it, and stays in debt. Okay? The money all goes to him. Overbet broke the story before Martin did. I said that already. He claims Lauren and Martin scammed him. If you have horses at the same table, of course, they're working together in conjunction. If you have them at the same fucking game, they're working together. If you have two horses in a game of 500 people, there's not really a lot you can do. But if you got 30 of them, that's fucking some shit. If you're playing a table, it depends how good the players are too. If these are like the best elite players, you got really good players as your horses, and you keep them in perpetual debt, and you push them to go into turn, and you pick the turn. He said he picks the tournaments. I talked about it last time in the last video. He's the one picking the tournaments. I seen a guy who there's like a, I'm not sure if it's a GoFundMe or whatever, but he put out a post, right? I was trying to get backing, right? And so he put out a post. I'm playing this tournament, and this tournament. The buy-in is this much, that much, and this much. I'm looking for action. The player already picked the tournaments. He was going straight. Now I know why he was doing this. He was going straight to the people. Okay? Not another poker player. He was going straight to the people. And he picked the tournaments. I already went through a long rant of personally, I would be picking my tournaments. Martin said he couldn't even pick his own tournaments. But then Bryn claims he went to Mexico because he wanted to play certain tournaments. It pissed me off that he kept on saying, I've had a poker career for over 17 years. He kept saying that. He kept saying yes, but no, no, but yes. He kept saying that. He kept saying yes, but at the same time, no, but at the same time. He kept contradicting himself the whole time, guys. When Sarah asked him, did he retaliate if anyone didn't eat the food he suggested? or did what he said no, but yes at the same time. That he kept doing that. He's like, no, but if someone says to the press and I'm investing my money in them, like it's on video, man. It's just crazy that I mean, did he talk to his lawyer? Why didn't he talk to his lawyers about not doing the interview? That's who he. Don't worry about Doug Polk, Brent. Don't worry about that. You should fire your lawyers for for fucking not talking you into not saying anything. That's what they should have did. They should have talked you into not doing that interview. You should have just released a letter, but his ego is so out of fucking control. You know what I'm saying? He honestly thought he can go up there, bullshit everybody, and everybody would eat that shit up like it was a fucking chocolate sundae. He admitted to the quacks, the shamans, the psychics. He admitted all that shit already. We talked about that. He said he didn't stake Lauren and had no invested interest. We talked about all this shit, man. It's just so obvious. And Bryn sent more than one person to he suggested more than one person to the shaman and the psychic. I mean, all this shit. He admitted that there was psychics and shaman. I mean, we went through all this stuff already, man. This was at the end of the video. That's probably why I wrote it. Some of this stuff I already knew, so I wrote it earlier. But and then we went through some of the. I thought there was another. Read this article about Lauren. I didn't read the whole thing. This is a good one. This one's on Poker News directly. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's go to this one real quick. See if it's the same one. Is this a newer one? Let's go back real quick. Oh, that's an older. That's an older one. Okay. This one's from 3 days ago. So yeah, this is still coming out, guys. There'll be more to come out. I just wanted to re-examine, retouch up on this and what I saw. I just want to make sure we were clear because some of the things I said in the video was at the moment freestyle and stuff like that. I watched the video again and wrote down a bunch of things and then I read you guys some of the things that were on these articles and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To get this information out to you, based on what I see. And I'm not saying what I see is the right thing, but I just want to give you my perspective on the matter and see if any bells ring off with you guys. If there's anything that you guys are like, you know what? He also did this. Or I feel you on that. That makes sense because I didn't like when he said this. It's about getting to the truth. Trying to get to the truth. And if I'm wrong, I owe the man an apology, and I will apologize. You know what I'm saying? I'm not above an apology. I'm not above admitting I'm wrong. I'm not a narcissist. Life is about growing and bettering ourselves and having a relationship with people that's built on honesty and not distrust. And not in the world that we live in, the predator mindset is very real. People prey upon other people, and it's wrong, and it's not okay. And we need to stand together and speak out for what's right and what's wrong. A president going up there telling 30,000 lies is wrong. A man being killed on the street because of the color of his skin, regardless of what race you are, is wrong. A woman uh, uh, being beaten by her husband is wrong. A woman embezzling money and fucking making people think that she's on their side is wrong. A man doing that is wrong. A person of any race doing that, it's wrong. A person from any political party, of any area around the whole fucking globe, it's wrong. There's wrong things and there's right things. Okay? I've made mistakes. We all should strive to be better human beings. But when we allow this wishy washy, pulley poly bullshit, this back and forth fucking no, I didn't, yes, I did. Oh, but they did it too. What about ism and shit? Like, It's just not right, man. And we gotta stand together. If we don't stand together for morality, it's gonna die. And when it dies, it's gonna take you along with it. Unless you become a fucking drone, unless you become an indentured fucking slave, unless you become one of those Kim Jong Un motherfuckers when they went to go talk to people and they interviewed this guy. He's all greasy and shit. He's all fucking like spazzed out of his mind, and he's like, the supreme leader is the best person in the fucking world. Like that's what they want for you. You want that? That's what the internet wants for you. You want that? That's what the Elon Musk and the Jack Dorseys and the fucking Jeff Bezoses and the fucking Bill Gates and the fucking banking system and the fascist alt right wing extremists con man narrative. That's what they want to turn you into a goddamn autonomous fucking drone with organic body parts, a goddamn cult member. That's what you want to be. You want to be a cult member. You don't want to have independent thought. When someone's spoon feeding you bullshit, you say, you know what? That's a bunch of bullshit. There's nothing wrong with that. You have freedom of speech. Don't just go along with what these con men are telling you because they're trying to siphon every dollar from you that they possibly can. Snap out of it. You know what I'm saying? Snap the fuck out of it. You can't be a humanitarian when Joe Biden's in there, but then once Donald Trump is in there, you're a motherfucking you pretend like you don't see any fucking problems. Everything is just fine, or you make up this fucking, well, the whole system's corrupt anyway, so what? Like, what kind of attitude is that? Then don't talk to me about corruption because you don't care. You're just a troll. You're just trying to piss people off. And then when someone smacks the shit out of you, you want to fucking cry about it. No, like you're on some deviant shit. You're on some like I don't give a fuck shit. You're on some bullshit. Then deal with the consequences. Straight up. Straight up. I mean, I've met these people in real life. I've worked alongside these kind of people, man. They're in fucking another dimension. They're in the fucking upside down. They're doing Kanye West shit, sending people to people's houses. I mean, it just seems like there seems to be some kind of level of fame that people get to, that certain people abuse their power where they want to see what exactly you're willing to do for them. Kanye West sent this lady over to this old woman's house, lied on her, said that she was a voting thief or did some shady shit. The president said her name. Motherfuckers went to her house with guns. Then Kanye West's attorney, not attorney, somebody claiming to be an agent of Kanye West went over there and said, "We know what you did. You better confess to it now." She said the devil's a liar, shut the door in her face, and fucking went in hiding ever since then. She's in hiding just for doing her civil duty of counting the votes. But because that fat bastard didn't like the result and also said during when he ran against Hillary Clinton that we'll see how the results go before I accept them, he said it back then that he wouldn't accept the results. So what makes you think that now is any different? Come on, man. You guys are playing a dangerous fucking game. You hate your government that much? You hate your government that much? You support other governments because they'll cut you a check? You support the Chinese regime, the communist Chinese regime, the fascist Chinese regime? You support the communist Russian regime, the fascist Russian regime that's claiming to nuke us every other fucking Wednesday, every other day? You support that shit? You support the Bryn Kenneys and these motherfuckers who think they can just go up there and say whatever, and you're like, oh, I love you? Motherfuckers in the comments and shit talking about, oh, I love you, Bryn? Like, what is happening, dude? Like, nah, man. Nah, dude. I'll leave it with this, dude. Like the Beatles said, Tell me you don't want a diamond ring and that'll just be fine. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. They're trying to buy your fucking love. And they're not even giving you anything for it. You're all about the Constitution. Republicans all about the Constitution. But when someone goes up there, bullshits everybody, lies to them, and the press calls them out, that's fake news and they should be shut down. They sent bombs. Did we forget that they sent bomb? You want me to be afraid of the anti-fascists, right? We need to worry about them. Was it the anti-fascists that sent bombs to Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Robert De Niro? What? Sent bombs to 20 to 30 Democrats, sent bombs to MSNBC, sent bombs to CNN, but you motherfuckers got the nerve, Minority Report, TYT, fucking Kyle Kalinske, fucking MSNBC, CNN, you motherfuckers got the nerve to go and say the Republicans are discrediting Biden's Title 42. The Republicans are going after Biden and slowly breaking down his student debt relief program. They have no fucking credibility. They want to kill you. But you're actually going up there and saying Republicans stand together as they criticize Joe Biden and slowly pull apart his student debt forgiveness program. You mean the same Republicans that try to violently overthrow the government? Those people who have no credibility at all? Lauren Chen putting nothing but black people beating up Asians but won't show like all the crazy motherfuckers who did it, just only blacks? That's it. Won't show anybody else who did that hate crime bullshit? Like, man, you guys are the problem. You're the problem because you're letting bullshit ride. You're letting this shit slide. You're co-signing it. You're serving it up on a silver platter, and you're telling everyone to eat the shit. You're a part of the problem. You're promoting it. You're pushing it. You're helping it. That's why when people call you out and say you're helping it, and then you have the nerve to go up there and say, "Fucking what's her name who used to work on the fucking Nicole Wallace, how do we talk about this without fucking promoting the making them look good or or whatever, by fucking calling it what it is, the insurrectionist terrorist fucking regime, pro-Russian fashion regime in the United States, who've decided to wipe their ass with the Constitution while simultaneously hiding behind it. It's that fucking simple. Call that shit out. Stop giving credence and credit to, you guys want to talk about politics, they want to fucking blow you up. What? And so that's why I'm fucking saying this shit, against this shit, because I'm against con men. I've worked with con men. I stopped selling gold because I don't want to be around those motherfuckers. I can go and sell gold right now and make anywhere between $50,000 to $300,000 a year, but I don't do it because I have fucking morals, dude. Have some goddamn morals. Stand for something or die for nothing. You either live for something or die for nothing. What is wrong with you motherfuckers, dude? What is wrong with you guys? Y'all don't care? Get money by any means? That's why that's why they call it being a sellout or selling your soul to the devil. That's exactly what you guys are doing, whether you believe in Satan or not. And not everyone talking about, oh, this and that with God, and this, all these politicians talking about, don't believe them that they are Christian. What, because they said so? Man, miss me with that shit. All right, ain't nothing Christian about what happened on January 6th. There was nothing Christian about that. Then they want to say, well, the Crusades, and you know, they pick and choose. Are we still cutting lambs and sacrificing them? No. Why? Because Jesus was a sacrificial lamb. He was the ultimate sacrifice. Isn't he known as the Prince of Peace? What happened? They whipped his back and killed him, didn't they? Did he kill anybody? No. Okay. And when he did whip people because they were gambling in front of the synagogue, disrespecting the house of God, okay, when he said, get up out of here with that, those same people killed him. And I don't mean the Jews like you motherfucking racists like to say. No, the people at that time. Plus, it was prophesized anyway. There's morals, there's morality, there's human decency. Okay. All right. But if you start playing that, oh well, everyone's fucked up, so I'm gonna get mine. That's what Russia's. That's Russian shit. Going to the across the state lines of Russia and paying off the guard. They're all about that. But you want to complain about the politicians here? Vote them out. But they're gonna get rid of your vote. They're already working on it. But you don't want to be a part of it anyway. You know, this ain't the best government in the world, but it's still your government. And you don't want regulation, guess what? They're going to make sure there isn't any. So get ready for more Bryn Kennys and Ollie, whatever the fuck his last name is, and Dirks Weisler and all these other Mike Postle and all these pieces of shit. Get ready for a fucking army of these motherfuckers coming to your door, branding your ass. That's what's about to happen. You love poker? Guess what? It's gonna be some. It won't even be poker anymore. It'll be some make believe bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Deuces Wild or some shit. That's what it's gonna be. Man, it's crazy, dude. They even got people. They got brothers in New York shooting up trains, man. But you know what? That's that man. That's that man's problem. That's that man's problem. You know what I mean? Over here shooting innocent people, talking about the homeless. One dude today was like, "Oh, why doesn't Biden help the homeless?" Whoop de wop. So you got motherfuckers talking about now that Biden's in office, all of a sudden these QAnon motherfuckers are talking about, "Oh, why didn't he help the homeless?" Meanwhile, this dude in New York just did a manifesto, said he hated the homeless, and just shot up a bunch of random people on the train. But you ain't saying shit about that. There was a motherfucker I worked with at a gold company who's Republican saying they should line them all up on the bus and exterminate them. But you want to talk to me about, oh, what Biden should do? Man, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You know what you're doing. You don't care about politics. You don't care about government. You don't care about this country. You don't care about wrong or right. You just care about yourself. And you'll lie, cheat, steal, side with the enemy, worship the devil, grab every fucking penny you possibly can for the sake of your own well-being, and fuck everything else, fuck everybody else. And you'll suck as many people into your fucking toxic belief system to continue your fucking shenanigans. It's just it's hard, man. It's fucking hard, guys. It's so hard because I just didn't think things would be like this. You would think with everything that went down with Dr. Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, JFK, even Malcolm X, Mahatma Gandhi, you would think with all the people who tried to give us the lessons and show us what the shit was really about, together, there's nothing we can't accomplish as long as we fight for each other, not in a physical, violent form, but in a just humanitarian form. We band together and we do what's right. We push for what's right. Oh, you fucking commie. You fucking commie. Fucking Elon Musk. I don't have a problem with him buying Twitter. I have a problem with him bringing back the My Pillow guy. That's what I got a fucking problem with. I got a problem with him putting these politicians in blackface or grayface or whatever the fuck they are. What's that about? What's that about? Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, y'all don't believe in equality? You don't believe that, like, that we all have the same, that we're all in it, that we're all human beings? You don't believe that? You don't believe that we're all in this together? That we all have a mind, a heart, a body, a soul? That we all have kids and we all strive for a better life? And that, you know what, I don't need to fuck you over because I got to take care of mine. Fuck you. I got mine, get yours. Like Richard Pryor said. I love poker, man. I love poker, but man, it's I just wish people would just get that hate out of their heart, man. And that evilness and that need to deceive, man. The need to deceive is destroying us all.